had a lovely time in Greece. Life was light, life was fun. I was eating, drinking at the best restaurants with the best views and maybe even the world. And I was having a great time traveling all the way back, and all that came to a screeching halt when I was in London. Yes, welcome to my nightmare travel story. Also, I don't know if anyone noticed, but I have a massive forehead, and for some reason the light keeps hitting it here. It might be because I'm an angel, but let me tell you this story because I did not feel like an angel during it. The travel path was, we were currently in Paros, which is an island in Greece, so then we had to go fly from Paros to Athens, then Athens to London, then London to New York City, and home, sweet, not Alabama. We were on the first leg of our flight, and it was Paros to Athens. We did it, small plane, I was a little bit nervous, seamlessly. We're there, we're on time. Next, we had to check our bag into Athens airport, and when we checked our bags, Arden talked to the bag check person, was like, hey, listen, we are on a strict time crunch. Will you be able to ensure that our bags will then make it to New York City if our flight then gets delayed, because we know all the travel problems that's been happening lately. They came back to us and were like, oh, of course, there's no worry. We have more than enough time. Everyone does this route. They were lying to us. Now, on purpose, I don't know. But the matter of the fact is that they promised that it was going to go smoothly, and it did not go smoothly. So I didn't like that. And then from there, we were a little bit relieved, so we wanted to hit the airport lounge. We aren't airport lounge experts, but we have the Capital One Venture card. So we were pretty sure, because Jennifer Garner and Taylor Swift have all those commercials, that we would have access to at least some of the lounges in the airport. We went there, showed them our credit card. They're like, okay, let me see if you even have complimentary access real quick. They did a quick scan, handed the card back, and was like, please get away from us. We don't want you here whatsoever. That was a big hit to the ego. It was like I was a freshman in college showing the bouncer a fake ID saying that I was 21, ready to party. Then them looking at it, handing it back to me and go, yeah, right, please get out of here. And you just go, okay, sounds good. Hang your head in shame. And I walked right out, and I was one of the commoners again. We decided to go ahead and stop by a cafe. At this point, we were starving. I needed to eat something. And I went ahead and bought a piece of moussaka. For those of you who don't know, I didn't know what it was until I went to Greece. And it's a beef and eggplant lasagna type stack situation, essentially. AKA, if you're looking at the high risk category for airport food, this is at the top of the list of, I don't know if you should eat this, might be a little bit questionable, but it was my last day in Greece. I went ahead and I rolled the dice on it, and actually was surprisingly good. With a full belly of moussaka, I was ready to go ahead and catch a flight, and it kept getting delayed. This is also when panic happened. It was at this point Arden started to panic, so of course I was just sheer anxiety panic because she was tracking it. It was tough though, because you had to track it on 3 different apps in 3 different time zones, and none of it made sense to me. So I trust her. She's super smart. If she's panicked, then I'm in panic mode. Finally, we had a time. We had maybe like a 2-hour buffer window in London. At this point, when the flight was taking off from Athens to London, it was going to have to be a seamless transaction, which by the title of this, I think you can guess it didn't go well. The flight itself wasn't bad. We went up, we went down. There were seats. I don't know what more you can ask for. Finally landed in London. We're like, oh my God, we're actually going to do this. We're going to make the connecting flight. And as we're going down the runway, we can then see there's about 20 cop cars, 3 fire trucks, a handful of ambulances. And I know what you're thinking. Whoa, one strip of like driveway essentially with planes, fire trucks, police mobiles, and ambulances. What more can you ask for? That's sweet. Not in this situation, although it was so cool seeing all those different types of things on wheels. This really delayed us. We had to go to a different gate, but it wasn't one of those gates where you just walk off and then you're in the airport. It's one of those where you feel like you're on a private jet because you have to go down the stairs, and then you realize that the bus pulls up and you're like, I'm not special anymore. There's no black Mercedes picking me up. So we start telling everyone on the bus, like, hey, we might make our connecting flight. We might not. People are cheering us on, and we're ready to take off, and all of a sudden this couple in front of us blocked us and took forever to get out of the bus. All I'm saying is that these two should really consider a career in the NFL, because of the way they were blocking, they would protect any quarterback. Eventually, somehow, we make a couple quick moves. Now we are in the promised land. We see the ramp we have to go up it. We execute. We bang a Larry real quick. Arden swipes her ticket. Boop. Goes through. I'm like, yeah, I swipe mine. I go, this can't be right. Swipe it again. Then the person goes, sir? And I go, yes, please. I need help. She goes, it's not taking you. It kicked you off the flight. which was so sad. Not only were we kicked off of that flight, that was the last flight for the night. Not only was that the last flight of the night, we then looked at the British Airways help desk, and it was filled up with literally almost every single person on that flight beforehand. This means that not only did we not make our connecting flight, but I was now in the back of the line, taking forever to get everyone processed and their refunds. Arden and I at this point accepted our defeat. And you know what? We're in London. We both haven't been before, and it was time for us to just enjoy the night there. Little did we know it was going to take an hour to finally see someone to process what has happened to get us tickets for the next day. And of course, we somehow got to the slowest person there, I don't know, ever was. I even looked at the person at the help desk next to our guy, and he helped 3 groups of people by the time he helped just us. Instead of being able to enjoy a night in London, it was getting super late, and it was 8 p.m. on a Sunday. All we got at the time was like a little nighty pack with a t-shirt and a toothbrush and maybe some other like random toiletries. So much fun. They gave us the hotel that we're gonna stay at for the night. We handed it to our taxi driver and was like, hey, please just get us there. We don't know where this is. They said, yep, sure, no problem. Took us to the place, dropped us off, and we see like a couple and some other people that we recognize from the flight sitting outside, very confused. And at this point, we realized, hey, this might not be a good sign. So I hung back with the taxi driver, and then Arden went in, checked. It was confirmed not the correct place. Arden walked back out. We hopped back in the taxi, and we're like, hey man, travel insurance, we'll pay you. Just take us to the next place, which he did, and we finally ended up there. Keep in mind, at this point, it's around 9 p.m., and we really wanted to go out and hit the town in London, but time was just not on our side. They had this down to a science, and the reason I knew that is because they had a big sign that said, welcome British Airways customers, that was laminated. If you are going through the trouble of laminating a sign or just a piece of paper, this isn't your first rodeo, and you're gonna know how to execute this plan. Arden and I were so tired at this point, but we were determined to go out on the town. We spoke to all the different hotel staff on the best way to get to London, and it turned out there was none. They told us a mythical bus that never came. Then they talked about the subway system, which I can tell just did not work by getting 3 different sets of directions from 3 different people. So I was like, okay, no one knows what they're talking about. Then we looked up an Uber, and it was $100. And at this point, we threw in the towel. We accepted defeat. We were like, why not live like kings? Let's go get some Indian food. Thankfully, shout out Uber Eats. Use promo code now. Thankfully, they have Uber Eats globally. So we just hopped on there and ordered. We were like, oh yeah, let's do tikka masala. Let's do this. Let's do that. Order came out to, I believe, $85 worth of Indian food. And let me tell you, it wasn't a place where it's like, oh, your tikka masala is $35. I think it was like $12 or something super reasonable. But we balled out because you know what? That's just what we do. So at this point, I'm now going to let tired Joshua and tired Arden give a food review and then maybe go on a little bit of a rant.
Twink beds. Who's ready for an Arden rant? Because I know I am. And then the guy might have been the slowest person ever.
Like legitimate turtle behavior.
I got confused sitting there because I thought he turned into a snail at one point. Arden, do you have any thoughts on the situation?
Yes.
Because you're quiet, so it seems like you're kind of cool with it and you love everything how it was handled.
Number one, I'd like to preface, I have to work tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
My laptop is in New York City. I am in London. I see London. I don't see France. I actually don't see London. You know why? They put us up in this Harpy. Football is on.
Yep.
I'm trying to watch the Eagles game. I knew the flight was going to get delayed. I knew what was going to happen. I knew it was going to get, I knew this was all going to happen. And I said to the agent, I said, are we going to make this flight? Are we going to make our connection? And they're like, yes, yes, yes. No worries. Of course. No problem. Happens all the time. No, clearly doesn't because they were not equipped. I would love to go explore London. I'm very upset. I have a lot to say too. Both British Airways and American Airlines. Because American Airlines are the reason that we were in the situation in the first place because they got rid of our nonstop flight. American Airlines is calling me.
Ooh.
Indian food hall.
Woo woo! By the way, we're in our matching t-shirts.
Look at the non! Give me your head. Goodbye, Arden.
It's hot.
Woo!
So the next day, we had a croissant on the bus over to the Heathrow Airport, made it through security, no big deal at all, and we even had some time to explore. I made Arden dip into the Harry Potter store. At the store, I touched every single wand and came dangerously close to buying a sweater, even though I didn't. We dipped back out of there and actually got a proper British breakfast where I got sausage, baked beans, toast,
And I, at that point in time, developed a British accent that was so bad, Arden said I can't be speaking like that because we might get kicked out of the airport. And honestly, the way that our travel nightmare was going, I would have believed her. We hopped on the flight and I found out that you can play games on the TV in front of you. I played Angry Birds and probably ruined the mother's flight in front of me. Look, I had to make a tough choice. It was either her comfortability or my birds getting revenge. And guess what? They were angry, and let me tell you, they got their revenge up to level 5 until I got frustrated and quit. Finally landed in New York, hit my bed, home sweet not so Alabama, New York City. That's my travel rant, and I hope you enjoyed it.